Titus 2 and 1.
But speak thou the things which become it sound doctrine, that the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as become it holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, but teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Chaste conversations.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, welcome back, Chase Conversations, sisters. We are talking about femininity tonight. Right now, we have our sister Yushraya in the room. Go ahead, sis.
I was going to say the first thing I thought about is how back in the day, how our women looked like, I don't know, I want to say they look like housewives, but they had like a certain grace about them, a certain way they carried themselves and moved, so it was like very womanly, if that's a thing, a word I can say, like womanly. You get what I'm saying? It's just something like an air or aura about somebody and how they carry themselves. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that. What about you, Sister Ivana? When you think femininity, what words or what comes to mind?
Someone who carries themselves in a like I said, in a way, not a masculine way, but more, I don't know. It's hard to say because she said it all just through explaining it, because that's what I was thinking. The same thing that she was saying. I said, that's
okay.
She's a little more softer and mm-hmm. in many ways.
Khan. All praises. Yeah. Yes. And I find this topic like giving me life right now. Okay. And I don't know why, because listen, we are women, we are females, and we're supposed to exude femininity. Okay. And a lot of the times we could get lost in the world and just how we were raised. We talk about it all the time. Social norms, what society pushes on us with pushing the females being in a more masculine role, or the males being in a more feminine role, or just pushing the sexes in opposite directions from where they should be, right? So we get caught up in that, in our jobs, being the breadwinner, when obviously we know the book says that the man should be the head and the provider, but we in turn end up being the breadwinner. So sometimes we could take off some of that spirit, bring home some of that spirit as we're in charge, mm-hmm. we're in, we're a little bit more assertive, where so I'm glad we're speaking about this tonight, because femininity is important. Okay. And it's important for us to make sure that we're exuding that every day, even in your roles at work. Okay. And especially in your homes. All right. So if we could start out, Sister Yushraya, if you could start out with 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9 to 12.
Right. So it reads, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to assert authority over the man, but to be in silence.
It is. All
Here comes
right.
my favorite scripture.
Yeah. I know. Um, so yeah, we just wanted to start there real quick. Um, what's the basis? Okay. So we are to adorn ourselves a certain way. We know already, and if we don't know, we need to know that we are to look a certain way. Okay. This is how you tell a woman and that she's feminine from her male counterparts. Or this is how you could tell, even with two women, that she's basking in her femininity in just the way she is adorning herself outwardly. Okay, not trying to be out there. I brought this up because I'm going to say it real quick. We have some people that are trying to portray themselves as women outwardly. Okay, but as a woman born naturally a woman, you don't have to do so because you were already born so you don't have to put that on outwardly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're bringing this up. I brought this up because already it's not just the outward appearance that determines the femininity of a woman, or that she is exuding femininity, or that she's feminine. It's not just your outside. And we're going to dive into that. So this was the first one. And it's telling us it's not your outward appearance, not all of that makeup, all the gold in your hair, all the head. It's not all of that, but which become it women professing godliness, godliness with good works. Okay.
1 Peter 3:4-5 reads, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God a great price.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. 5, for after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
So you see how it says there, adorn themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands. So it was not, and if you read up to verse 3, it repeats itself from where we read in First Timothy, to not let it be the outward adorning. Okay, so let's separate two ladies, you or two women. You can have two women, and one that is showing her femininity from the inside out, and one that is not so much, based off of their mannerisms. Okay, not because they both have on skirts, but because of their mannerisms. And this is what the Most High is looking at, because again, he judges the heart, not the outside. Okay, we want the outside to match the inside, obviously, but he judges the heart on the inside, your actions. Okay, all right. So again, when I think of femininity, some words that come to mind um are like sweet. Okay, you're sweet, you're gentle, kind. Submissive is a big one that's been pushed out there. That was not a word that I thought was equated to femininity back a couple years ago. Okay, a matter of fact, it's one that I still had issues with, even coming into the knowledge of who I am. Okay, but it's a big one when it comes to femininity, and we're gonna bring up why. Okay, I think affectionate, tender, helpful, one that can show emotion. Because when you think about it, for somebody that can't show emotion, you're like a robot. Um, if we need say, when we speak of men, they're not spilling out their emotions, you know. But that's when I think of a woman and femininity, that's what I'm thinking a woman does. She wants to cry on your shoulder. She wants to reach out and, tell you what's going on, right? So this is a big one too. Passive, passive. And this is going to shake a lot of people's, rattle a lot of people's fences. But this is what it is. Okay. When you are passive, you're unresisting, you're submissive, you're not assertive. A man asserts himself. And we just read in what was it, First Timothy, to not usurp authority. Con, we're not to usurp authority. Where a woman in her femininity, she's compliant. She will go along, okay? Not saying that now, none of this is saying that you cannot have something to say, knowing when to say it and how to say it. It's not saying that. But a lot of the times, occasions don't call for us to say things. Number one. Two, we have to know when and how to say it. And we've brought that out many times in many scenarios in this book with our foremothers. Okay. So, being patient and long suffering, these are all the qualities. If you're passive, all of this, okay, is under the word passive. All right. You can look it up for yourself. You're malleable. And if I'm saying that right, malleable or malleable, which means you can take being pounded on and pounded on and pounded on and pounded on, okay, in the harsh ways, but you're still not going to make you not be feminine. Meaning you're not going to pound so much on me that I now come out like a roaring male lion. I'm still going to come out of it a lioness. I'm still gonna have, what I'm saying? That's what malleable is. And that's where long suffering comes in, because we go through a lot of things and it tries our patience. One of the words that passive is trying our patience, and we tend to come out of character or come out of our feminine roles because of these situations, whether at work, at home, whatever it is. We tend to want to raise our voices. That is usurping authority. That is coming out of your compliant and submissive and long-suffering role. Okay. So we want to be malleable. Something?
Yeah, it just made me think about the scripture in Jeremiah 6:2 that says, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. And so lately we do hear about femininity, and so what is that like? What is that? That's what we hear, right? We're hearing it in the world, we hear it amongst ourselves, but what really is it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that just makes me think about it. Comely and delicate, a woman that's comely and delicate. And so the things that you're addressing, like being passive and being submissive, and those make a woman delicate, right? And then of course we'll get into maybe some comely features where the way we look and carry ourselves, although it's not so much the outer, but the inner can come out, make our external comely as well. Exactly. So some of the things that you're tonight are going to be right on point with that.
Exactly. And that's why I brought up, for the other genders that want to be feminine, okay, they want to do so much on the outside. But like we were just saying, okay, but are you feminine? No. Okay, because you lack these characteristics, you lack the natural ability to be these things. And then you see them all the time. Like, not only do they pat up their, what do you call them, beat their whole face to oblivion to make it look on the outside like a woman, but they have to do what? Take on the mannerisms now of a woman. So they have to get their high shoulder, they have to bring it down softly, they have to sit up, right? They have to put their chins up, they have to bat their eyes like women do, they have to, speak softly instead of strongly and assertive. Okay, this is exactly why we say it's not just the outward when we bring out in First Timothy and in First Peter, but it's naturally in you as a woman, these feminine qualities. It's just a matter of, are you exuding that at this time, or can you be doing that a little bit more?
I gotta say something, because
okay,
what came to mind, I started giggling because what came to mind when you're talking about the bat and lashes and the things, like, we don't want to go overboard with it, right? Because like this, it just made me think about somebody who might be doing a little too much of all of that, and it says the haughtiness of a woman is
right,
seen in her eyelids.
right.
We do got to be careful. There still has to be an element of modesty and and generosity in our femininity, but we definitely want to make sure that we are having these characteristics of femininity.
Fine.
So,
And that all goes back into, yes, you're right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't want anybody to take what we're saying and run with it and start, but and and that's and that's exactly why it says not about the costly array or the adorning of that stuff. That's exactly why it says that. And that's exactly the definition of shamefacedness, because we're not supposed to be all, we're not. Okay. But but the mannerisms, the subtle mannerisms of the feminine, and we just naturally, have that about us. Okay. So Sister Yvonne, you had anything before we moved on?
No, you go ahead.
All right. So we had a couple of words written down here, and some of them were nurturing, gentle, submissive, and one of them was desirous of security. Okay. A real woman now, a real feminine woman in her femininity wants a head, wants a male to step to be there, just be there at the plate and take the lead, please, and wants that security because it said there to be the provider and the protection. That's what we want. Okay. Now in Genesis 31, 34 to 35, it says, now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them, and Laban, her father, searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, it is not let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of the women is upon me. And he searched but found not the images. Okay. Now, if you read that story, please, y'all, whenever we bring out something, we're not going to read the whole entire chapter for time's sake, but please go back and read the story. Okay. Brought that out. She said, "Is the custom of women is upon me." A woman in her feminine role, we know that we have. I believe she was talking about here. Is the custom of the women is upon her. Your monthly, okay. So she couldn't get up, and we'll precept that real quick, Sister Yvonne, if you have that Leviticus 15 and 19.
Okay, Leviticus 15 and 19 says, and if a woman have an issue, and her issue is her flesh be blood, and her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening.
Khan and Sister Yishra, you have Leviticus 12 and 2. So that's what she was talking about, saying that she has the, the issue of the woman is upon her. Okay. This is what a woman goes through. It is feminine to have your monthly. So if we're trying to stop that from happening, you're doing the opposite of being feminine. Okay. So let's read that last one in 12 and 2.
So Leviticus 12 and 2 reads, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of separation for her infirmity, shall she be unclean.
All right. Again, sisters, you can read the rest of that as far as being unclean. And I believe we did do a lesson on that. Please look back in the videos. But we brought those three out to show you that how we are to be, okay, and what is part of being feminine. We have our monthlies. We have children. Only a woman can do that, number one. Two, in your femininity, this is exactly what you're not going to run from. So Genesis 3:16 says, unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Your desire. Your desire. Again, we said desirous of security. This is why a lot of, not all, but a lot of our women, especially the ones in here tonight, we desire that security. It's in our leadership. It's in our husbands, okay? It's in the leadership of the household. So we desire that security. And it's saying that here, okay, in verse 16, thy desire shall be to your head, your husband. What is desire? A longing for, stretching out. I need this in my life. We have plenty of women that want, and see, society makes it it's called toxic femininity, really. But society makes us think that it's bad to be submissive to your husband. It's frowned upon to want to be the housemaker or the keeper of your home and not want to go out and have 15 degrees, spending 20 years in school, and you know, not being submissive and being soft. They look down upon that, okay? And that is toxic, right? But the Bible is telling us something else. Your desire should be towards your head, okay? And he will rule over these. So that's where the submission comes in, because we are to submit to the authority. We're not to be in the authority, okay? So that's where we get these things from, in not being assertive and not being resisting. You have something, sis?
Yeah, just Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 36, 24 and 25.
Okay.
Salah. It says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. So one needs the other needs one.
Right. And still up. All right. So
Proverbs 11 and 16 reads, a gracious woman retaineth honor, and strong men retain riches.
Okay.
A gracious woman retaineth honor, and strong men retain riches.
Right. Kind. Okay, so what this is saying, this is 16. What this is, a gracious woman retaineth honor. Do you know what that is saying? Gracious. Let's just look that up real quick. Sirach, that's Ecclesiasticus 26, verse 15 says, a shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. There's no value on this gracious woman, okay? In her, I think you said that was one of your words in the beginning, someone that's soft and graceful, tactful, okay? So a gracious woman, back in Proverbs 11, retaineth honor. There we go again with that malleable, if I'm saying it right, malleable word. Okay. No matter the day or night, the rain, hail, sleet, or snow, the occasion, the season, okay, or the person, she is going to still be feminine. You're not going to make me be masculine in this point. I'm not going to start popping out my veins in my neck. I'm not going to get up and, start roaring. Okay. This is what we're talking about. So, and what is the honor here? The honor is she will maintain, what does it say? She will retain her honor, meaning her respect and prestige. Okay. Not being assertive, submissive, patient, sweet, kind, pleasant, and has favor. I think you just read that, says she will have favor above all. And we're about to read what that looks like, because if you guys remember Esther, let's go to Esther real quick. Esther chapter 2, verse 15. Ladies, read this chapter, read this book, really. Still talking about the gracious woman retaining her honor. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. So she wasn't needy and greedy and, oh, I need this. Oh, the king looking at me, so let me get all of this and all of that. No. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. Okay, we're gonna go over to chapter 1, still in the same book, Esther chapter 1, verse 10 to 12, just to get the backdrop of that and why she obtained this favor and why it's so important for us to exude that femininity from the inside out. Okay. Esther chapter 1, verse 10 through 12 reads, on the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Besta, Harbona, Bigtha, Agatha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that serve in the presence of Osiris the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore, the king was very wroth. He was pissed, and his anger burned in him. Okay. So again, if you read that story, that set the tone for him just saying, you know what? We're gonna do a Sirach 25 and 26 on her, which reads in Ecclesiasticus 25 and 26, it says, if she go not as thou would have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. So this is how our Queen Esther, one of ours, came to be queen. Okay. Because Vashti was not exuding her feminine. Now she was what is it? Beautiful to behold. Okay. But we read in the beginning, it's not about your outward adorning. She had that down to a T, but she was not basking in it from the inside out. Okay. She was being masculine, actually, in that point. She was being more masculine, taking on those traits, because we are to be submissive, unresistant. She resisted her king, her head, her husband. Okay. She wasn't being supportive at that time. She wasn't being helpful. She was making his life a little, bring her out here. Like, no, we're supposed to make things better. Okay. She wasn't being compliant. All right. So This is what it means, ladies, from the inside out. And Esther got favor in their sight because she exuded these things. She didn't require a lot. Okay. She was quiet. Um, she was patient. She waited and waited and waited. She was kind. We've talked about her before and how she gained favor in the sight of the king for being patient and what was it? Affectionate and submitting to him so he could have favor like, oh, you know, you just come on, ladies. We see it. We see it. We know the power we have. We know the power that we have, and we abuse that and we use it in the wrong ways. But if we just use that in the right way, if we operate in the right way, things will go the way they need to. Okay. And there won't be friction because they're not you trying to be in a masculine role. Okay. I remember a sister of mine, she said, I'm paraphrasing what she said. She says, my husband gives me everything that I need and that I want. Okay. And she wasn't saying that in a snobby way. She wasn't saying in a snobby way. What she was telling me in just to sum it up is that, and I could see it. She weighs on her husband hand and foot, and it just melts his butt. He just melt all over the plate. Okay. She is patient and kind with him. She smiles with him. She exudes that femininity, not just in what she wears. Yes, that's important. Okay. But she is just exuding that. There's flowers on his plate with his dinner. There's you know, and so he's like, yes, um, you're so precious. I just want to keep you. I just want to take care of you, like this precious, like we read the precious ruby, right? He just wants to take care of you because you're just so pretty and you're just doing okay, so gracious and keeping that honor. Like I think Sister Shayla May had even said it when she went to the store, just in the way she was dressed and her mannerisms. The gentleman, he quickly straightened up when he saw her and was like, "Can I carry your bags and stuff?" It just, you receive grace and honor. You keep that prestige and that respect from people around you because of how you carry yourself, your femininity. And then you see that we get the opposite when we try to be manly and step to the men like we're men, and just act crazy. I think I saw a clip of the guy slapping the female down in the street. And see, we looked at that like, oh, he should have never did that. But she was not being feminine at the time. She was not, a little soft pedal. She was acting like a roaring lion out there. You know? So we get what we put out. We get what we put out. Um, okay. She is not idle. Okay. The fruit of her hands. Let me not chop it up real quick, but Proverbs 31, please read that. Okay. Matter of fact, this whole lesson will just be summed up in that one. But it says, give her the fruit of her hands and let her own works praise her in the gates. Okay. She don't gotta talk about herself and how she did this and blah blah and all this other stuff. Her work show for itself. And she's not idle because she's showing the works by doing the stuff, whether she planting her garden, starting her clothing line, or just making the clothes for her family. Um, speaking kindness. That's in there in verse 26. Her mouth is she opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. That was one of the words we started off with. When I think of feminine. That's what I think. I think warm baked cookies and apple pie baking through the window, like you said, you try, and the big fluffy skirts, and the rollers in the hair. Like, give me some rollers. Give me some rollers. Okay. And an apron. Yes. Okay. But these days, our women, we don't want to do that. Half of them don't even want to cook. I've heard of women not wanting to cook. Like, that is a trait of a woman. I don't get it. We're letting Mr. Microwave, like, just like, I don't, that we need to get back to that. Like you said, sis, like, you had just brought me back, you know, the rollers. And so, when you got rollers in your hair, you about to be set. When you take them rollers out, it's going boo boo. The curls is bouncing. Okay. And you took the time to do that, and then you slow baking that apple pie, you hand making them breads, that unleavened bread. That's all part of femininity. Okay. Not one who don't want to cook. How you gonna get a man like that? I don't get it. you know so yeah, Proverbs 31 all day, ladies, the home oriented. Okay. So
You oh, Salaxis. Something that just keeps coming. I don't have a scripture for it, but something that keeps coming to mind is like releasing your inhibitions, right? Your inhibitions are things that make you kind of self-conscious and uptight, but when you release them, you're more relaxed and natural, right? So you become like your natural self. So like kind of letting that guard down will allow you to be more feminine as well. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because we can close it out with that. How do you embrace your femininity? Okay. How do you embrace that? Um, just the way you move, the things you put on. I was I mean, we raised up wearing pants and stuff like that. I didn't really feel feminine, and they try to make it seem like you can, and that's why they make tights that grab your behind. So because they feel like your behind is showing formally, that it makes you feminine. But no, when I have on a dress, that's when I feel my most feminine. Okay. Um, Creativity, your creativity, again, working with your hands. You make the necklaces, calligraphy, what how creative you are in your head wraps. Okay, it takes a feminine type of woman to just do these things. How you create the home, make up the home, you put the things on the wall. What does it say, sis? The man buys the home, but the woman dresses it. you know why do they need a woman to dress it? Because they need a feminine touch, not a masculine touch. No. Okay. um Receive more, be able to receive more, be able to receive more. um one of the ones I've always heard was spend more time in nature. If you want to be embrace more of your femininity, spend more time in nature. Go in the backyard and plant you some little seeds and start a little garden, start singing to it. When you sit back and think about it, it's that's why we fight a lot with ourselves. We fight a lot with ourselves and with our counterparts, because they're trying to fit something where it shouldn't be. Okay, that's why we have a lot of friction right now. Okay. I know I've been dealing with that myself, and even in my own marriage, you know rolling out of the world, and how you're supposed to be more what are we independent. We got to be independent. That's not what the book is saying, though. It's not what it's saying. So you see how you're fighting against your natural instinct to be submissive and be dependent and be, in that role, because everything is being pushed at us in that way. Okay. And just be in touch with our emotions. It's okay. I've heard people say, oh, you're too emotional. But what is too emotional for a woman? What is that? Because if I didn't show any emotions, then you would be like, oh, you don't show any emotions. So what there's no, if somebody's telling you that, that's not good. Okay, it's better for you to let your emotions out. Not saying just go out into the streets and, again, time and place, but we are emotional creatures. We are. We go through things monthly that cause us to be emotional. Number one, two, with child, raising children, having husbands. Sometimes you just gotta cry. Sometimes you just gotta, you know, you know. Yes. I mean, I would have something to say if I'm watching this romance movie and you don't shed a tear. You don't shed, it's just something about, yes. So we got to let that out. We have a lot of pent up stuff in there. We just need to let it out. Just cry, go on the couch and cry. Have a good cry. That's good. It's healthy. So that's we just wanted to jump on here real quick and just talk about the femininity and what it looked like real quick. And what are some of the things that we should be doing to exude more feminine qualities about us, to bring that up out of us, okay? Because it's not just the outside, ladies. It is not. Trust me, it is not. Okay. All right. So, our praises. Hopefully, you guys were able to glean something from this. I appreciate your sisters for chiming in. And until next time, we'll be here again, same time, same place, same link, same beauty. And with that, we all say shalom.
Shalom.
All praises.